Hi, this is Bobby from PassionofACritic, and I'm here discussing Bill Maher's film Religulous, directed by Larry Charles of Borat and Bruno fame. This is a film that, pretty clear by its name, critiques religion, or basically analyzes religion, to be honest, at first, and sees if religion is a good way to live. Should everyone incorporate religion into their life, or should we become skeptics, and should we eventually move away from religion and lead an atheistic, first probably agnostic and then atheistic lifestyle? That's what the film tries to establish. If you know anything from Bill Maher and Larry Charles, you know that they're more interested in the satirical part of life than basically the really truthful of it. I mean, they analyze truth and they analyze society, but they do it in a mock kind of way. They do it in a satirical kind of way. So going into this, you shouldn't expect to have your religious beliefs or philosophical ideas really challenged. This is a lighthearted affair, even though it's a documentary. What Bill Maher does in this film, he goes out into society. You know, he goes into some Western countries. He goes to London. He goes to the Netherlands, Holland, and he sees. He talks to people, whether they be atheists, agnostics, Muslims, Christians, Jews, and just asks of their belief, and he just talks to them. He converses with them to see if what they believe is reasonable. Um, the film the film is really it really has just one note. It plays one note. It's Bomar going out to people. Um, they tell him what they believe, and he basically lampoons them, and that's fine. I have no problem with it. He's a really funny guy, so it's not like there's this lame guy lampooning the religious, and you're just saying this isn't even funny because it really is funny. There's this scene when he is comparing Santa Claus to Jesus, and it's one of the best comparisons I've ever seen between a religious religious view and a completely agreed fictitious character. Um, but the film really breaks down for me on one issue, in one issue, and it really, if you don't like this about the film, you're really not gonna like the film, because this is the only thing it clings on to, and the idea is, and in his interviews, he interviews really smart religious people, really intelligent. I'm sorry, not religious people, really intelligent atheists, really intelligent skeptics like George Coyne, who is a former um, who was in the Vatican Observatory and is a scientist, but not a creationist. But he's also a priest. So there's this odd thing going on, and he's he and if you watch, there's an interview with him with Richard Dawkins on YouTube, and if you watch him, he agrees with a lot of science, but he also says that he believes in the virgin birth and a lot of miracles, the resurrection. Besides him, there's a neuroscientist he talks to, and other smart atheists. Like he goes to Holland and talks to I think someone who works in the Senate or their House of Representatives, one of the things, and he's basically against Islam. But while he's in Holland, there's this segment about him going smoking marijuana, and it's totally irrelevant to the film. I enjoy it that he's smoking marijuana. I mean, I don't enjoy it, but cool, good on him. But it's nothing that you're watching and saying, Jesus, that truly, is mind blowing. I mean, I've seen people smoke marijuana. It's, so to put it in your film about religion, it's not really good because even if you're an atheist, it puts a bad light on you that just because you deny Islam or and you're smoking marijuana, you've reached some enlightenment because that's not really enlightenment. It's like it's the same it's the same idea I have when I watch people who come in the U.S. and say, "Oh man, we get to from like Eastern world, like from Iran, Saudi Arabia." I say, "Man, we get to drink all we can, or we can party and we can have sex as much as we want." And it's kind of like, is that your view of the U.S.? I mean, did you come to the U.S. just for that, or does anything else appeal to you? Uh, Besides that, so it's really inconsistent, and it really employ certain ideas that really aren't influential and aren't even important. Um, but the point that I really want to stress is the people, religious people he interviews. He interviews, let's say, he interviews for the Jewish religion. He interviews an anti-Zionist, who I don't, I mean, okay, he's Jewish, but if you're representing the Jewish religion, I mean, why not interview a Zionist? That just seems more logical to me. Or he interviews a Christian religion. He goes into, some really redneck states, such as Alabama and Arkansas, as it seems like. And he's interviewing these really nice religious people who, did they believe in their God? And they kind of dislike any opposition to him. But I really don't understand. And he critiques them and he looks at them and they're wrong. They're kind of really passionate, and they're kind of wrong in their belief because they show it as if it's the truth, as if they know it's the truth, and um, they're normal people, you know, and for and before I get to why I didn't like it, he goes to interviews Muslims. He's a representative of Islam. It's just people in the street, and just rapper in London one rapper in London. I mean, I'm not gonna say more because I'm not gonna ruin it because he's pretty interesting in an odd way. But besides that, that's his religious people in a snapshot. So I mean, compare George Coyne, neuroscientist, Francis Collins, to hillbillies in Alabama who believe in God. I go to a religious university, and I'm minoring in philosophy, and I know a lot of smart religious people who could challenge atheism. I'm not saying they'd win. They'd lose in front of Christopher Hitchens, or Richard Dawkins, or Daniel Dennett. But I feel they would kind of trump any idea Maher has, and that's really why the people he interviews are so low down in the intellectual scale, because I don't think he could deal with Francis Beckwith, who is a really smart philosopher, who is also a creationist, but he's pretty good. I've been to his lectures at University of Texas. Um, he's a creationist, but he could tear Mars to shreds. I've seen him talk, and I've asked him questions about evolution, and that's really why he avoids it. I don't think Mark could handle the Christopher Hitchens of the creationist side. I don't think he could handle William Dembski, or I don't think he could uh, handle Michael Behe. He couldn't handle any smart creationist, and I'm not saying he's dumb, but he's not the George Carlin. He's really not Hitchens. He's really not Dawkins. He's a comedian, but he's not at the prime of reasoning, you know. And I'm sorry, Tom, I really enjoy his show, but I don't think he compares to any of the people I mentioned. And that's why he only goes towards the low religious types, while appeals to the high um, atheists and agnostics and skeptics. And another example is he interviews a guy who's religious, who was gay, and now was married a former. I mean, I don't know if it's a former, but a former lesbian. And I wanna just think and say, hey, why is that important? I mean, what part of religion does that come to? You're interviewing oddballs. These are oddballs of religion, and you should never interview the oddball. You should interview the normal people, the intellectuals. He never interviews an atheist who's gone on done some horrible crime, or who's been transgressive. They've always been nice, normal people, scientists, intellectuals. I keep saying that word a lot because they are really intellectuals. But that's really why I didn't like it, and that's really all there is to the film. It's interview after interview of smart people versus religious idiots. So if you I would recommend this film to people who enjoy a good laugh and who they aren't really out there to see a documentary, but a funny film. The film is monotonous and one note, but I think people will enjoy it. People who know Maher, who know his sense, who have a sense of his comedy or have watched any of his stand-ups, really do know what kind of personality he has and kind of agree with him. Will really enjoy this. But if you're out there seeking enlightenment, I really wouldn't recommend this. And I haven't really seen any films that even go with this approach. Attempt analyzing religion versus atheism because it's really hard. But at least the only thing I applaud him is at least trying, even though he fails. And also, I'd watch out for the disaster ending, which really covers no new ground and doesn't give us anything to build on. Neither if you're religious, neither if you're atheist. It's just a statement at the end, and it really does show that he did approach the film with preconceptions, and his mind, as much as he said he tried to learn and analyze religion over the course of this documentary, he really knew what he was doing from the very beginning, and he had it all thought out. And he doesn't say if he's really learned anything from interviewing these people, which to me would be fascinating to know, because I like to know, has an idea changed on any part of religion? It would be quite fascinating to know that. Even for staunch atheists like him, did he learn anything? I think it would be fascinating. But the ending, I mean, I'm gonna refer to it marginally because some people may not bother to go see it after this review. I mean, I don't know, I don't know how appealing this review has been, or if you've really, I doubt anyone watches this and suddenly says, I was gonna watch it, but I'm not. But the ending, basically, what it does is he says, he shows a kind of brave new world conception of our future, and says, oh, for these reasons we need to dump religion, and you know, um, embrace atheism, and all the atheists need to come out of the closet, pardon the expression. So it really isn't a statement that is bold. It isn't a statement that is new. It isn't a statement that hasn't been said before, and neither it's been said by comedians. It's been said by scientists, by journalists, by other normal atheists I've spoken to, and by anyone. I mean, I've heard the expression a lot of times. Atheists need to embrace their atheism, and not fear persecution by their families, and by society. So it's not new ground. And if you're religious and you're watching this just because you like Maher, I really wouldn't recommend it because I think you're going to become irritated. I'm an atheist, and I became irritated. Um, but, I'm sure fans of Maher who just like his bashing of religion and, authority will really appreciate this. This is Bobby from Passion of a Critic, and this was my review of Religulous. My rating would be a D. Thank you. Thanks for watching.